You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Hello everyone, so welcome to another episode of YouTuber Merchandise Review. And I guessed an episode of Binging with Batish, if you will. Today we're going to be recreating the dumping cake from Tell Me Why, and also a little something at the end. But today we're also going to be reviewing the Binging with Batish knife. Now I do have to warn, you should not be taking me as a guide to do this sort of thing. If you want to, you can relook up or use a screenshot that I showed earlier, or right now, to recreate this on your own. Now, originally it asked for a can of cherries. All I could find was this pie filling cherry because apparently everywhere else has been sold out. Additionally, it also asked for a can of crushed pineapple. All I had was this can of ring pineapple due to the unfortunate matter of being able, once again, running out of pineapple that I needed, which is, great. For this recipe, you're also going to need about 8 ounces of chocolate chips. In addition to that, we will also be using some of the old Mr. Beast bars from the previous video to both use those and add a little bit of more YouTuberness to this, I guess you could say. For this recipe, going into the dry, you're also going to need 2 cups of sifted flour. Now, fun fact, when I woke up and started filming this video, I realized that I did not have any flour, so I had to order some off of Grubhub. You're also going to need some sea salt and some brown sugar. And for the final thing you're just going to need 3.5 cups of butter. Unfortunately, I did not have any in just your standard kind of tub sort of thing, so I had these 2 sticks of butter, which is going to be 1.5 sticks. Now, even though today we are making our own recipe, I did want to show off, of course, the knife that I had purchased off Amazon for about $15, aka the Binging with Batish chef knife. As previously seen in another video, aka the Mr. Beast Burger video, I did open this up and use it, but I decided to put it back in there for old showmanship type. As you can see, it has a very nice covering, a solid handle, I would say, and this thing is hella sharp. Fun fact, I cut myself while we were filming the other video, and I nearly cut myself here. It is a lovely knife, I'm not gonna lie, it's very well, of course I'm showing it off here, and we're gonna be able to use it more later in the video. As I said, do not use this video to try to make this recipe. There's probably better sources to do this. So I'm going to hold in the juices because there's no actual other liquid in this recipe. It does not mention specifically, the instructions are very loose on this, but I'm going to conserve the pineapple juice, use that, and then we're going to cut up these pineapple rings. I tried to do this in sort of a stacking thing, didn't work out the best, but I did it for a little bit of showmanship. Additionally, we're also going to take our pie filling of cherry and really add it in there. It was way thicker than I thought it would be. But in the long term, I feel like it actually helped our recipe more than anything to be an actual cobbler. After this, we're going to add our dry ingredients into a separate bowl, sifting out that flour. I used a sort of grease catcher that you use over pans. That didn't work out the best. It was a little bit messy, but you do what you do. I was not going to buy a sifter for a thing I was only going to do once for a video. It actually worked out way better than I thought it would be, which then again, it's just a really weird looking sifter. We're going to add our salt and additionally cut open our brown sugar packet, and we're merely going to be able to have just enough sort of wiggle room to scoop in a whole cup of brown sugar. Now, the only thing I'm not a huge baking expert. I did take a class, so you should be able to form it enough so it sort of comes out as a sandcastle, as you can see as it dramatically drops into the bowl. Now, here's our butter portion. Of course, we're going to slice through these. We're going to need a full stick, obviously, for the butter, and I'm going to cut this one in half and use, just save the other half for later. And of course, it's stuck to the fucking knife. That's great. We're going to add both the butter and the dry ingredients into a bowl and then use a mixer. Now, I'm dumb and forgot how to use a proper mixer because I barely bake, to be honest with you. So we're just going to cut to the footage afterwards. After this, I recommend thoroughly that you go slow and use a dough scraper when you can to scrape it from the sides of the bowl to get it all nice and incorporated together. Don't be like me. That's what I'm gonna say. I'll now read out the exact instructions just so I can come across what I was trying to do here. Mix cherry and pineapple into the 13 by 9 inch pan. It looks a little dirty, but I promise I cleaned it. And then you mix the cake mix with that together, which is what I was trying to do here, which, not gonna lie, was not fun because I thought the pan wasn't deep enough. But as you can see, after I cut to the other footage, I decided to put it back into the bowl, mix it, which was way easier. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was definitely messier. So like I said, do not use this video as a way to make this cobbler sort of thing. It actually looked way better after I was done mixing it than I thought, which I was glad for that. We are now going to chop up our Mr. Beast chocolate bar since we already have the chocolate and stuff. Once again, this is the sea salt one they saw me in another video try. By the way, update on that recently. There is a corpse thing with that, the YouTuber, all that stuff. I'm just going to talk while I'm cutting. And also the cookies have made it to my Walmart, so if you guys want to see a video about that, tell me down below. I mean, I don't care. I'll just do it, upload. You know, it's been so many videos at this point where, you know, I worried about not doing a trilogy that, you know, it is what it is. As you can see with my horrendous cutting skills, this is actually very good against chocolate, which, you know, I was expecting that, obviously. We have ourselves a lot of chunks of chocolate right there to add on top of our dessert. We're going to top our delicious cobbler cake with our chocolate chips and our Beast Bar. We're going to toss in a preheated oven for 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 35 to 40 minutes or until golden brown. Now, while that's cooking, I also decided that we would test the man himself by making a super simple meal that he made early on his YouTube channel, aka the candy crystal meth from Breaking Bad. This was part of his Breaking Bad episode, and we are merely going to need pure cane sugar, corn syrup. I also had I'm using red and orange food dye because that's the only one I had, and I'm actually going to flavor this with peppermint. For this recipe, as he describes, you are going to get 1 cup of water, 4 cups of sugar, 1.5 cups of corn syrup, and I use, like I mentioned before, peppermint extract for that peppermint taste, and red and orange food dye. I guess it's not blue crystal meth, it's red crystal meth, if you will. You're going to heat this over your stove. You're going to start stirring after the sugar has been dissolved, and stop stirring when it is reached 300 degrees. You're going to get out I got myself out a thin cooking sheet and poured out to it with a couple rags underneath just to protect the surface underneath it. As you're going to see, this thing is steaming, obviously, so do not touch it and let it cool for about an hour, I would say. You're going to come back to what is supposed to be a very clear candy, for which you can gladly use your YouTuber merchandise to fucking smash it and all that shit. Hold up. Here we go. No, not really. Oh, there we go. Come on, big one. Big one. There's a big one. Come on. Come on. Come on, you got this. Don't worry me. Oh. Okay, that worked. Never mind. As you can see, I had a lot of fun cutting this one. This was fucking awesome to do. Just all the smashing and shit. You can see it actually was fairly resistant, and tasting it, it was pretty fucking amazing. Also, it nearly sliced up my tongue, which is not the best thing. You're going to transport this into a large Ziploc bag or medium Ziploc bag if you have people you want to share with. Me personally, it's been keeping me fed for almost the entire month of October. He did not mention a shelf life on here, so I guess it's cool. After all that smashing stuff, you can then dig into your cooled cobbler cake sort of thing. Now, as you can see, it doesn't look the most appetizing. I was going to cut it, but I think the best thing to serve it with is a spoon. Now, as I mentioned, do not use this as a way to cook this meal. I thoroughly recommend, from, hindsight is 2020, to eat this while it's somewhat still warm, because this is way more of a cobbler than anything. This just reminds me of Boy Scouts, all that stuff. Now, do I think it's horrible? No, it's just, you should not eat this cold. It's more of a warm sort of campfire snack. If I was cooking this in a, cast iron out in the wilderness and all that stuff, it would be delicious, but as you can see, it's somewhat gelatin. Also, I would try to find canned cherries best you can, but besides that, it really did not ruin it for me. It was just the texture, all that stuff. To be honest, I would give it a 6, 7 out of 10, but once again, this might be user error, but then again, also, it wasn't very descriptive when it came to recipes, so maybe this wasn't the perfect thing to start us off on our possible baking career, but like I said, wasn't horrible. But even though our thing was sort of a bust, the knife totally wasn't. I would recommend it to anyone who is looking for very cheap knives with a glorious binging with Batish face on it. Once again, thank you all for watching. This was a great experiment into it, and I can't wait for you guys to, tell me what you think about it down below. Tell me any other stuff that you guys want to see. If you want to see more of my face, the hands and all that stuff. I showed a lot more than I usually would in this video. But thank you all for watching. Have a good day, good night, good midday, good midnight. I'll be seeing you on the next one. And make sure not to die. Bye-bye.